Going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back with another player ratings video, fresh from our trip to Manchester to the Etihad, where we snuck away with a 2-2 draw, thanks to the help of VAR once again at the Etihad.
We got away with one, it's fair to say, let's be honest. But look, sometimes you need that bit of luck to get a result away in Man City, everyone knows that, and that's exactly what we had yesterday. And you got to praise the players for how they dug deep and didn't never gave up in their pursuit of the point. And look, coming away from the league champions with a point is something to be happy about.
Yeah, and I saw this stat, I think the last 30 games or something Man City have played at home, Tottenham are the only teams to take a point off them. So
yeah, it shows how tough it is, and It shows even with luck, a lot of teams can't even come away with a point. So, look, the performance is a lot to be desired, but I think you got to be delighted, and hopefully will push us on. But let's get into
it. Let's start with the player ratings. First of all, Hugo Lloris, we gave him an 8. I thought it was absolutely amazing performance from Hugo. Saves in the first half, important saves in the second half, commanding his box really well. I thought it was just an all-round great display from him, to be fair.
Yeah, I thought there was some moments where he was rushing out on Sterling, who looked like he was going to go for one-on-one, and then there was that sweeper Lloris that we love to see, and he made a couple really good saves. Interestingly, though, he had a great game, but didn't have an overabundance of world-class saves to make.
I thought there were at least 2 or 3 pretty world-class saves in there. Shots from maybe not point-blank range, but close to. I thought City were peppering our box, and I thought he made serious good saves there.
I don't know if there were any saves we think, oh my god, how did he keep that out? Those kind of saves. But I think what he did do very well was when he didn't spill any shots. He kept them very close to his body, and it allowed Spurs that respite. And I think that was very good. And give him a lot of credit for that. And I think he doesn't get the credit he deserves.
100%. A lot of people were slating Hugo last year, but
some moments rightly, but I feel like
he had his mistakes last year, but all in all, I thought he had a very good season last season.
I think every time now he has a good game. People in the back of their mind he has a good game, but when's the next mistake going to cost us? But you got to think he's a great keeper. He really is, and he proved it again.
Sometimes in the big games where he lets us down, and that wasn't the case yesterday. I thought he was sensational. But anyway, moving on. Yeah,
Karl Walker-Peters, we gave him an 8 as well. Really good game, I thought, from him in general. Obviously, there were some bad points from him. He fell asleep for the first goal. Sterling crept into the back post. There was also another moment in the second half where Karl Walker-Peters had that. He was in the right back position. He actually had the ball stolen off him from Sterling, and that could have cost us dear. But other than those couple of moments, he was firm. He was strong, and he put in some real vital blocks. I thought he was confident on the ball. He wasn't worried about taking a player on and advancing us up the pitch. And I thought in general his passing was pretty good, and I was actually really impressed with him.
He looks a lot more assured than he used to look. I think this season he's kind of maturing into the player which we wished and hoped he could be. I think his defensive performance, apart from those 2 lapses which you mentioned, which is expected from a player of his age, and he hasn't.
Well, he'll have to learn from them. I thought the second one, especially when he got robbed on the edge of the box, was pretty bad.
Of course, he's going to have to learn from them. But like I said, a player of that age and a player who's played as much football as he has as well. I think you expect these kind of mistakes, but you expect him to learn from them as well. That's the main thing. As long as he's learning from his mistakes, then I have no problem with it. But having said that, I think he had a brilliant display. We've seen the likes of Trippier and stuff go to these kind of places and fall flat on their arse. I think Karl Walker-Peters was given a bit of a different job than Trippier usually has. Trippier usually stayed forward and tried to get back, but Karl Walker-Peters kind of stayed back and went forward when needed, kind of thing. Not just bombing it forward on.
Yeah, he didn't have too many chances in the final third, but in terms of the confidence bringing the ball forward, it was mainly in our own half. He kind of, he wasn't just lumping it forward all the time. He was actually sometimes trying to take players on, which was good to see.
Yeah,
good to see that confidence.
All right, moving on to Danny Rose, we gave him a 6. I think there were a lot of chances coming down that side. There were a lot of chances coming down that side.
I think they targeted him, to be honest.
Yeah, it's actually interesting targeting him instead of Karl Walker-Peters. But to be fair, I think they were targeting both because they were coming down both sides chances. But
I think they're definitely getting more joy off Danny Rose's side there.
Yeah, I think, look, Danny Rose, he looked good in moments and looked bad in moments. I think it was a bit similar to his performance last game. There were good moments and bad moments. But a player of his experience, they really need to cut these bad moments out of his game.
I'm not sure if the chances were being created because he wasn't getting a lack of help, because Erickson was on that side, and a lot of the times De Bruyne was getting free from him, on the right hand side.
As well, Karl Walker-Peters had Sissoko on his side.
Yeah, so he was obviously going to be helping a lot more than Eriksen was. But also, I think I'm also going to put a tiny bit of blame on Ndombele as well, who I thought at times left him a bit short. But I think we improved that in the second half. That's why we didn't concede as many chances down that side in the second half. But the first half, it was rampant. It was De Bruyne again and again, just getting in it a time after time, and it cost us dearly twice, really, because both crosses came from that side, and it's a real shame. And Danny Rose, he struggled a bit. I think he had some good moments, off the ball, but I felt like he wasn't on top of his game yesterday, and I think he struggled a bit. I think he was overloaded on that left hand side, but he had a lot of defending to do, and it wasn't totally his fault.
I felt when we were on top in the second half of the first half, he was doing well going forward, and he was like a good outlet for us. But to be honest, I don't think we had enough width in the game, and that's to do with him and Karl Walker-Peters more staying back as opposed to bombing it forward because of the opposition we're facing.
We had Eriksen and Lamella on the wings, really, who like to tuck in, then bring in and stay wide. So that's why we had a lack of width.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Toby Alderweireld, we gave him a 7. I think a pretty solid display from him overall. Maybe you could argue he lost Aguero for that second goal. He maybe could have stayed with him better, but the movement for Aguero I thought was pretty brilliant. So it was tough to stop. But I thought it was a pretty decent display. Nothing too much of note from him. I thought he was solid at the back with his partner Sanchez, we'll get onto in a bit. But I was pretty happy with him. But obviously City were their attacking was unbelievable. So it was really hard for him to kind of batten down the hatches and totally be perfect. But I thought he did a pretty decent job. Yeah,
I mean, like when you see Toby and Sanchez in the lineup, you expect Toby to be the more commanding of the two. But to me, I thought Davinson was. I expected a bit more from Toby. But look, let's get on to Sanchez. We gave him an 8, and I thought he was absolutely sensational. Such a commanding presence in there. Before, in the week in the build-up towards the game, everyone was calling out to start Jan Vertonghen and stuff like that, because obviously Jan is a better player than Sanchez. And Sanchez is prone to his mistakes and what have you, but didn't put a foot wrong, I thought, the whole game. I thought it was commanding presence. Aerial ability was sensational. His speed to get back was unbelievable, and he just didn't let anything past him, really.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. I agree with you. I thought block after block after block he was making, really getting tight to those City strikers, not letting them turn and shoot or anything like that. I was really happy with him. I thought it's such maturity as well. I think finally he might be coming of age in terms of in these really big games, not making silly errors and trying to be on top of his game. I know we did concede 2 goals, but I thought he was great.
You say that coming of age performance, but I said it in the preview for the game that it's not the big games where we're worried about Sanchez. It's actually the smaller games where I think he has a bit of a lapse of concentration. I think in the big games he actually always plays well. Not always, but I think more times he plays well in the bigger games than the smaller games.
I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure.
That's what I think.
I think this is a bit of a disagreement. I think in the bigger games sometimes it's not necessarily he'll make big errors, but it'll be mostly like positional kind of things, and it'll be lapses in concentration in the big games, which are a lot harder to notice, that will cost us in bigger games. And I think sometimes he's like, for example, that Juventus game, a couple of lapses of concentration, we lose the game 2-1 in the Champions League, things like that.
Yeah, but then we brought him on against Real Madrid when Toby got injured, and he was sensational that day, I thought.
Is that what happened?
From what I remember.
Yeah, okay, but fair enough. Yeah, we won 3-1 that game, but they didn't do much attacking, did they? Real Madrid that game. I don't know, but that's different. But look, the main thing is Sanchez had a great game in this game, didn't he? And I was really impressed with him. We need to see more of that, and with all the uncertainty we have over our centre backs, we need him to be stepping 100%. Up big time, because we need to see that future centre back who's going to be starting week in, week out for us. Hopefully, probably from next season onwards.
Look, we can all see the quality is there with Sanchez. He's got all the tools to become a top centre back. We just need to see the consistency from him.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Harry Winks, we gave him a 6. Decent display. Again, he went off early though, because we needed that kind of attacking. We were losing 2-1 at the time, and obviously we needed more players going forward to attack. But we actually scored within 19 seconds, so we didn't need to attack much more after that. But Harry Winks, not an amazing display. I felt like in midfield he struggled a bit against their midfield players. With obviously they had De Bruyne, Rodri, Bernardo Silva, all these players, and I wasn't so sure he was that great, to be honest. Obviously, there
were moments, there were flashes.
There were flashes. He's really great at keeping the pace of the game, but I think Winks really thrives in a team that's dominating and in possession. And obviously, we played 90% of the game out of possession, and it wasn't really his kind of game. And he did struggle. Yeah,
to be honest, there's not much more to say. That, like I said, there were flashes of brilliance from Winksy, but all in all, he was taken off after 50-60 minutes.
Yeah.
And
he was had to go off.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't great.
It kind of, the substitution kind of picked itself. Winksy was always the man that was going to be sacrificed in there. But moving on to Tongi Ndombele, we gave him an 8. Absolutely brilliant performance from him. He was so dominant in there. The stats just literally speak for itself. I can't remember the stats, but my brother will tell you in a sec. But I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He took about 20 minutes to get into Premier League life, and this is a game against the champions, away from home, arguably the hardest game in the Premier League season, and he absolutely grabbed that chance with both hands, I thought.
Yeah, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. I really did. There were moments in the first half where, as I said before, I put a bit of blame on him not tracking back enough and tracking on his runners. But once he got into the game, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. I think it was like 100% tackle success rate, 100% dribbling success rate, 4 dribbles, I think 100% duel success rate. I thought he really was fantastic in that centre. And his second game for Spurs, away at the league champions, to perform like that just shows the kind of character he has. And I think, again, he's going to improve a lot as well. And that pass, that first goal, really underrated how incisive and vital it is for a player like him in the centre of the park. It's what we've been crying out for, someone who can dribble, get forward, and also have that incisive pass on him to kind of set up the goal. And really great assist from him. So happy. I think off the ball as well, how many times he was getting back and making tackles and setting up attacks. Absolutely fantastic. And I think we have a real player on our hands. I was so impressed.
His ability to spray the ball as well, left and right, and long passes. I think his passing range is absolutely second to none.
Good passing range.
The one negative I would say about him, which he'll probably learn when he gets more used to the Premiership, but I think he needs to be stronger on the ball. I think he does get pushed off the ball a tiny bit too easily at the moment, which I do think he'll learn because he's a big lad.
Yeah, he'll learn how to cope with that. It's Premier League is a lot tougher than the French league, but he'll get used to it. He'll bulk up even more than he needs to, and I'm no worries about that. He looks absolutely like a real baller.
Yeah. Moving on to Moussa Sissoko, we gave him a 6. It was a very combative display from Moussa. I thought he played well in parts and he didn't play well in other parts. I thought that he was hassling City a lot without much quality. He was kind of covering for Kyle Walker-Peters a bit, helping him out on the right-hand side. I think his starting position was like right wing, wasn't it? Which is not really his strongest position. I think he moved into his preferred position in the second half, which he improved on. But all in all, it wasn't a great performance, but it was an okay performance from Moussa.
I think sometimes I don't think he was awful in that right.
No, he wasn't awful
position, but it wasn't his best position. But sometimes how you see France do that. They play Matuidi in a left attacking position, even though he's never really going to be attacking.
Yeah,
that's kind of what we did with Sissoko. This game, kind of that right winger who's just his job is really going to be helping out Kyle Walker-Peters. And I think he did a decent job overall in the game, but I think there were a couple of moments. I think he was also partly at fault for that first goal. He also didn't track the runner, which led to Kyle Walker-Peters falling asleep and Sterling stealing him behind, which was really disappointing. But I think overall he did a good job for the team, and that's what he is. So he's a team player. He's never rarely obviously last season he had some great performances, but rarely does he stand out for his individual quality. And I think he just did a good job for the team yesterday.
Yeah, I just think Sissoko struggles a bit when you give him too much attacking freedom. I think he's much more suited to that centre midfield role, batting out in the middle, winning the ball back.
Didn't see enough charges forward yesterday.
Exactly, and that's what we know and seem to love about Moussa, and we didn't see that yesterday enough.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Christian Eriksen, we gave him a 7. More for his off the ball play than his on the ball play, again because most of the Spurs game was defending, to be honest. And But I thought, again, he defended well. I thought he did really decent jobs. Many interceptions I can remember, and tackles he was trying to make. And even if he didn't make the tackles, he was in position trying to win the ball off the City players. And I think he did a really good job for the team yesterday. And you got to give him credit because, people accuse him of his mind being here, there and everywhere. But I thought his mind was on the job yesterday and I was impressed.
I mean, I've seen loads of comments on Twitter how awful Erickson played yesterday. And I don't get it whatsoever because, we were pretty much behind the ball for 90 minutes yesterday, apart from 10, 15, 20 minutes in the second half when we were really good on top. But Erickson, the amount of times he won that ball back in the centre of the park was absolutely sensational. I thought he was doing such a job for the team. He never stopped running and he kept winning that ball back. That possession retention was absolutely insane. People know about Erickson that his main force is his attacking play and picking the lock and all that kind of stuff. Obviously that wasn't there yesterday because City were just so dominant in the game, but the job what he did yesterday went under the radar so much because I thought he did such a job for the team.
And even if you look at, obviously he has a great passing range, and if you were looking to start a counter-attacking isn't really his forte. He's not got the speed for it. Yeah. So and if he's looking for runners, we didn't really have the runners because Lamella, Kane, they're not the fastest on the counter. Yeah. So his lot of options were really limited, and I felt for him from that sense. But I thought for the job he did for the team, he couldn't ask for much more, and I think he'll have better games where we have more of the ball and he's attacking more and he can show more of that kind of stuff.
But you saw against Aston Villa.
Yeah, but in this game, it just what he did, he had to adjust his game for the team, and I commend him for it.
All right, moving on to Erik Lamella, we gave him a 7. Lovely finish for the goal. He got the assist from a corner, and he actually put in a few good corners yesterday. Literally. Erickson needs to take some notes from Erik Lamella on his corners because Erik Lamella's corners are absolutely incredible. He gets them in great positions pretty much every time. But apart from his goal and assist, he didn't do that much else. Lamella's there for is peppering their defence, peppering their midfield, providing that pressing game. He kind of did that, but look, I don't think it was such a great display from Lamella. I thought he only gets a 7 because of that goal and that assist. The goal was great to see Ederson in that positioning and shoot from there, and it was a nice little finish, but it's got to be the goalkeeper's error for that.
Not sure what the keeper is doing. I think he's probably anticipating a through ball or something because he moves all the way to the other side, but he forgets he just left the whole goal open, and the whole left side of the goal is open, and Lamella's like, all right, I'll just put it in there.
Exactly, but credit to him for spotting it and executing it as well.
Yeah, and from 25 yards, there's no easy feat to beat Ederson like that, but I'm not sure what Ederson is doing. But I agree with you. Lamella had a decent game, but he had a few good moments where if he had a bit more quality on the counter-attack, we might have been in, and he just couldn't find the right ball, which was quite frustrating. But, he got the assist and he got the goal, and you can't ask for much more than that away at City. So 2 moments of quality proved it for him. And even though those moments of quality were few and far between, you've got to give him credit for getting them over the line at the end of the day.
Definitely. Goal and assist, what more can you ask for away at City? Moving on.
All right, Harry Kane, we gave him a 5. He was completely out of the game, in all honesty. He just wasn't in it at all. It wasn't his fault totally. I think, again, he did a good job for the team, so maybe the ratings were a bit harsh in the case of, we gave Erickson a higher rating. But I think Harry Kane, you expect kind of more from him. You expect him to be holding up the ball and bringing players into play and setting up attacks, and he just wasn't able to do it. Again, I don't think it's totally his fault, but he was so anonymous. It's hard to give him a higher rating because he just really did not have anything on the ball.
I mean, it was hard for Harry, just because, like we've said many times already in this video, that City were on top for so much of the game. It was hard for Harry to see any of the ball, which he didn't. I think he was working hard off the ball, running for the team, trying to make chances, but it just wasn't coming off for him on the day. And
he had 1 attempt all day, and that was from the halfway line. That was his only attempt of the whole game.
Well, there you go. So, it is what it is. I thought Harry's going to have much better games. He looked really on fire against Aston Villa, and when he has more space and more time on the ball, we'll see him producing.
He had the hardest job on the pitch, that's the truth. A lone striker up front against a Man City team who are going to have 90% of the ball, so he's literally feeding off the bottom of the barrel, the scraps of the scraps. He's feeding off. So I feel for him, but when a player is that anonymous, it's hard to get him a high rating.
Yeah. And moving on to the last player we're going to rate is Lucas Mora. We gave him an 8. He came on for Winksy after about 55, 60 minutes, scored within 3 seconds of coming on from that corner. I don't know how he did it. Like, how did he's got such a leap on him.
He does.
I was saying yesterday to a friend of mine, he's got a leap like Cristiano Ronaldo, you know? For someone so short, how can he jump so high?
I don't know if you noticed, Lloris seems to aim for him for goal kicks as well. He seems to aim his goal kicks. I was
seeing that yesterday. I noticed that yesterday.
So they clearly think that people might underestimate how good he is at heading because he's so short. But you're right, he has a really good leap on him, and he tends to win loads of headers, more than you would think. Maybe reminiscent of someone like Tim Cahill, who wasn't the tallest, but very good in the air. And hopefully, I don't know if he's that good in the air, Mora, but he seems to win a few. And that header yesterday was a great finish with his head. Really good header.
And then after the goal, I thought he was probably our best attacking outlet. You know, he was picking the ball up, trying to beating men, and trying to get balls in the box, trying to make stuff happen. And I think it was what we were crying out for going forward, just a bit of pace.
Yeah, I think he really, and it's a shame because I feel like he had the beating of Zinchenko when he came on. We didn't get enough opportunities to show it. There was one moment where Zinchenko must have had like a 5-metre head start on him, and somehow Lucas stole in and actually got into the box. We just couldn't find Kane waiting for him in the 6-yard box. And I think maybe if the game was a bit different, Lucas could have made a bigger impact. But I think he did make an impact when he came on, and I think his pace kind of frightened them a bit. But obviously, I don't think he had enough opportunities to display it.
Yeah, I mean, like, City was so dominant early in that second half. I thought when Lucas came on, I actually thought we had a chance to actually nick the game because, you know, he was providing us with a bit of a different outlet than we had the whole game. And I thought we could have got a couple of chances there, and we kind of got a few half chances after he came on. No shots, but I thought we played a lot better after he came on.
Yeah, we gave him something else to think about going forward, which they didn't have before.
All right.
Lastly, just talk about Pochettino, I guess, quickly. I thought he pretty much picked the lineup we expected, apart from Lamella came off for Lucas. And you have to say it was justified. Because
with a goal and assist.
Yeah, Lamella got the goal and assist, and Lucas came on and scored later on in the game. So I think that he got totally right. I think the formation, he did play the diamond, which we predicted. And I think it didn't really stop their creativity.
Well, didn't we start with a bit of a 4-2-3-1? And then we moved to the diamond.
Yeah, well, you're right. We played a 4-2-3-1 with Sissoko on the right, with Lamella in the centre, Erickson on the left, Kane up front, and then we moved to the diamond. And I thought, when we were in the 4-2-3-1, we did struggle to contain them, but we were better in the second half.
Well, I thought our best moment in the game was halfway through the first half. I thought in the last 15-20 minutes of the first half, I thought that's when we played our best football in the game, and we actually looked like we were on top for about 15-20 minutes.
I don't know about that long. It was probably about 5 minutes.
Maybe it felt like when we're at the game about 15-20 minutes, because I was getting so up for it. But look, all in all, at the end of the day, City absolutely, they shut on us. Let's be honest. They absolutely outplayed us for 80 minutes, let's say, of the game.
But I think, look, Pochettino will be delighted with the point. He really will be. I think, in the grand scheme of things, coming here and staying strong and getting that point over the line, despite all the VAR stuff right at the end of the game, which we haven't even gone into. But I think that it's such a massive point that we can go away to these big sides and not be overawed completely, even though we
were.
But no, we dug deep, and we
did dig deep. But if City put away their chances, we're talking about a completely different player ratings.
Probably, but I think you've got to give Spurs credit for defending how they did. I think the midfield has a lot of work to do. I felt like De Bruyne had the freedom of the park to do stuff, and you've got to be having a plan to stop him. But other than that, I think we gave them a tough time in terms of trying to break us down, especially in the second half. And I felt like the centre backs were absolutely fantastic. Aguero did struggle against them, even though he did get a goal. And I think there's a lot to look forward to going into the season. A lot of improvement to go forward. But I think a point in away at City.
Well, that's a game point from last season already.
Exactly, and it's a great point. Not many teams are going to get a point away at City this season. Going forward, hopefully, in terms of what we're going for this season, whether it be a title challenge or top 3 or whatever, it's going to be vital to get points like this on the board. And to be able to improve, we need to be getting points away at big teams like that.
So that's our player rating. Let's just talk about that VAR. What rating are you going to give to VAR?
Yeah, VAR 10 out of 10. The man of the match. What a decision that was right there. And again, they did it to us, VAR. They scored in the 91st minute or second minute. Jesus scored. And then I was down in the dumps again. I thought, and we spursed it up again. It happened again. But somehow, just VAR pulled it out of the bag for us again. But again, just like the one in
deja vu, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it was, and just like the one in the Champions League, when the goal went in, you could even see a possibility what it could be ruled out for. You're just thinking, that's a goal. Like, what could that possibly be ruled out for?
Even Hugo said it. Hugo just said after the game was like, I just thought it was a goal. Like, I couldn't see anything that was.
I think it's just one of those things where at first look, it doesn't seem that anything could really rule it out. But there we go. It got ruled out. And we go forward. There's a whole debate over VAR at the moment. I agree that there's some things that need to be ironed out.
But all in all, that was the right decision. It hits his arm, and that's it. It's a handball.
It was the right decision, but I guess this could be a whole other video up here. Maybe we'll do it. But there is a whole thing about what it means for the future of football, and I think they haven't quite ironed out yet. I think there are a few things that need to be fixed.
Yeah, obviously, there's going to be things that need to be fixed. It's the very first season of VAR, so I think you're going to have to bide its time. But at the moment, as it stands, I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah, man, bring it more. More VAR better. The more VAR, the better.
Yeah, we won't be saying that when it bites us in the arse against Arsenal.
Yeah,
but anyway.
We'll see. All right.
There you have it. That's our player ratings for the Man City game. Like, subscribe and comment. Tell us what you think of our player ratings. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.